back here at Wrigley Field. The Cubs trail the Marlins 4-2. Big chance in the 8th. They could only get one against Fernando Rodney, and now they'll face A.J. Ramos, the closer. He saved 32 last year, an all-star this year, and if he can save this one, he'll tie that mark from 2015.
Yeah, he's allowed just the one home run there. You see at the bottom of that graphic. Gives up a fair number of base runners, 23 walks plus 30 hits. Pitches like a starting pitcher. Fastball, slider, changeup, occasionally a curveball. Most high leverage relievers, most relievers period, 2 pitches. But, 4-pitch mix for Ramos.
Facing Montero to start it. And into right. That'll get the tying run to the plate. It's a double.
Wasting no time. First pitch he sees, he buggy whips into right.
Shouldn't have to pinch run for him. Already in scoring position and does not represent the tying run.
Dropped the head on that low ball. Baez 0 for 3 today. This 5 out of 29 on the homestand. Is done great work defensively. Not so much with the bat here lately. Great opportunity for him. Situations where you just have to slow the game down, force the pitcher into the strike zone.
Breaking ball. It didn't break much. 2-0.
So that slider off the plate, then he tries to throw another one and just doesn't get through the pitch.
On the outside corner, 2-1.
Matt Caesar, who's been one of the best pinch hitters in baseball, is out on deck.
Missed way high. 3-1. Out to Rodney. Back-to-back singles, a walk, a wild pitch. Zobrist laid down a sac bunt, but then Contreras and Hayward made outs. Rodney got out of it with limited damage. Ground ball, base hit. Montero will advance to third. The tying run is on base now.
Well, well, well. Goes away from the breaking ball, elevates the fastball, and Baez able to get on top of it and pull it through the hole. Prado sure-handed, but does not have great range. Caesar adding .343 as a pinch hitter. That's the best mark in Major League Baseball for anybody who's had 25 plate appearances or more in the pinch.
Marlins will play for 2. They're not worried about Montero. Ball 1.
Surprised Prado's not in a little bit more at third base. Caesar's a very good bunter. Talk is cheap at this stage of the game.
Double single to start the inning. Ramos has a sign. And his 2-0 pitch. Missed again. Fowler on deck. 3-0. Boy, this is almost a carbon copy of the Rodney inning, at least the way it started. I was hoping to change the script a little bit in terms of how it ended. Three and one. Bases loaded. Nobody out. Nobody up in the bullpen.
You throw a pitch off the outside part of the plate. In a situation like that, you might get a hitter to chase, to get a little anxious, but pitch well in off the plate. Pretty easy for Caesar to lay off that one.
Juan Nieves, the pitching coach. The entire Marlins infield gathered around on the mound.
Well, he's going to need all of his genius and then some to get out of this mess. Bases loaded, nobody out, top of the order. Solid single to right last time for Dexter, making him 1 out of 4 today.
Yeah, the Marlins will play for 2 up the middle. And the pitch. Strike 1. Wanted it. In the event the Cubs get 2 and we go to the 10th, it'll be Aroldis Chapman, who's playing catch in the bullpen. Two and one. Cubs were down 6-0 early on Sunday night, down 3 in the 9th, tied it up, beat the Mariners in 12. Trailing 4-1 today in the 8th, 4-2 here in the 9th. Two and two.
Javi Baez is getting a huge secondary lead out at second base. Marty Foster more generous up than down today. Very much a borderline pitch.
Full count, 3-2. They've got Ramos up against the ropes here. Fans on their feet. And the pitch in the air, pretty well hit. Stanton, however, now the wind bringing it back toward the infield. He's got it. Little bobble. Throw to second. Cut off for 3. Second and third. Tying run at third, winning run at second.
Well, great base running by Matt Caesar on this play, getting himself into scoring position. Ramos pitching away from contact throughout that at-bat. Challenges in the zone with a slider. You see that little bobble there by Stanton. That turns Caesar loose, and he gets into scoring position.
Sac fly for Fowler. Give him an RBI. So they've got a base open, and it's Chris Bryant at the plate. Now you've got Baez at third, Caesar at second. Good speed out there on the base paths. The pitch. Bryant couldn't hold.
Given the day off yesterday. Walked and singled so far this afternoon.
0-2. You feel good about the way that play developed if you're the Cubs, but if you're the Marlins, you feel okay about it too, because it's always that first out a pitcher gets, right? He feels like he can see a little light at the end of the tunnel. And Ramos now thinking, if I can miss Bryant's bat one more time here, got a great shot to get out of it. The 0-2, 1-2. Marlins hanging on for dear life as they try to avoid a sweep.
It's interesting they're keeping the middle infielders back, conceding the tying run. That's the winning run at second base.
And with Chapman loosening in the bullpen. We're going to have to go after him in the 10th if we get there. 3-2.
Yeah, I think a lot of managers, once they've got their closer in the game, they just think about, I got to do whatever I can to prevent the other team from tying the ball game, even if you run the risk of losing it with that other man in scoring position.
Two swinging strikes and then 3 consecutive balls. He has not thrown Chris a fastball yet.
So the fastball essentially becomes his change of pace.
The seats. Good spoiler there by Bryant. Was that ball 4? I'm guessing it was.
Probably, yeah.
We talked about this before. Seems to be more 3-2 anxiety than when you're down in the count. So you battle back from 0-2. Feels like guys tend to go out of the zone a little bit on that 3-2.
Well, I think when guys get into the psychology of it, is I think guys start to think, okay, now I'm going to get a pitch to hit.
Could have been a strike there, number 6. Another 3-2. Called strike 3, and it did not look like one, did it?
No, it did not. And Chris Bryant normally doesn't have a whole lot to say. Could almost get inside Chris's head after fouling off the previous one, saying, okay, I'm not going to chase that slider off the plate again. And that's a strike to ball slider. Ramos is hoping to get a swing and a miss or a weak contact here. Bryant does a nice job laying off, but does not get rewarded for it.
So they've got a base open with 2 outs. Rizzo, the hitter. Zobrist after him.
Well, I would think they would either just put Anthony on or pitch so carefully to him. See if he's willing to expand his zone and get himself out. Just going to put him on. And a lot of people are going to say, well, that's an easy decision with Rizzo up there. It's not an easy decision with Zobrist on deck and a pitcher who, at times has a hard time finding the strike zone. Right. A very patient hitter on deck in Ben Zobrist.
Right, so the Marlins are calculating that Ramos will not walk Zobrist.
We talked about it last time with Ben. Normally very patient. Rarely offers at that first pitch. He did last time. Rodney threw him the changeup.
Funny, isn't it? We were talking off the air before the game, and you said, I think rightly so, pretty much going to see Ramos today because he hadn't pitched in the first 2 games of the series. He's probably feeling like he worked all 3 at the moment. He is at 28 very stressful pitches here in the 9th today. Bases loaded, 2 outs, 1-run ball game. Outside, ball 1.
Kind of hitter you hate to face in this situation because of his patience, and he has delivered with the bases loaded and then some.
Awkward landing by Ramos, so after intentionally walking Rizzo, he immediately goes 2-0 with the bases loaded.
High anxiety for A.J. Ramos. He stayed away from contact this whole inning. In my fantasy world, Ben drops a bat, puts his hands on his hips, and says, I dare you to throw 3 in a row in the strike zone. I bet you can't do it. How about that? Trusting his slider more than his fastball to find the zone. 3-0 slide ball with the bases loaded and the tying run on third base.
The 3-1. Ball 4, we're tied. Ramos just barehanded knocked down the return throw from Mathis. Really upset. 4-4. Contreras now with a chance to win it.
Again, just the perfect guy to have up there in that situation. He's not going to let the moment get the best of him. He's not going to expand the strike zone.
RBI, bases loaded walk, and it's Contreras taking a strike. Well, you could argue he's walked 4 in the inning. Do you think the Bryant pitch was ball 4? Pitch tracks thought so. That gets away! Cubs win! They win it! 5-4, the final, and they engineer the sweep. What a comeback.
A wild pitch was Cishek-like. It's becoming a trend. Cubs just applying tremendous pressure here late in this ball game. They got to Rodney a little bit. They got to Ramos big time. What a way to finish the homestand. He was clearly feeling the stress and overcooks that one way out there. No chance for Mathis.
So the Cubs finish the homestand at 7-1. Let's send it down to Kelly Crow.
Well, Mickey, we were just talking about the crazy game a few nights ago and how that could be the turning point for this season, but this one has to rank up there as well. You got that final inning started. What were you looking for on that first pitch?
Try to get a rally going, you know. Try to get on base some way, somehow. I faced that guy in the past, and he normally get ahead with a fastball at first pitch, so I was like, you know what, get ready to hit the first pitch, because after that, you know, he just throws all kind of pitches. But, you know, I already told you when was the turning point. I think it was that game against Seattle, and, you know we can come back anytime, and we did today again.
What was the chatter like between all the guys as this inning continued to build?
I mean, it was we all pretty confident. Once we got the bases loaded with no outs, I mean, we were like, you know, I knew we were going to come back and tie the game, and then they got the 2 outs, and it was a great at-bat by Strawberries. I mean, it was an outstanding at-bat. And, well, you can see the last pitch, he did it a favor for us.
Okay, there haven't been too many of these games this season where you've had to come behind, but when you do, how much confidence is that building going into what you guys are hoping to, of course, do this postseason? Excuse me.
It's big, you know, because it creates some momentum, you know, and obviously, like I said before, in Seattle, what we did with Seattle creates some momentum, and we just keep it rolling.
Awesome. All right, go enjoy that postseason celebration, the postseason celebration. How about just today's celebration, guys? It's been a hot one. I'm losing my mind down here. But the Cubs sweep the Marlins. How about that? Let's send it back to you.
Kelly, thank you. Our Benny's Beverage Depot toast of the game. I mean, you were right. Steve Cishek, the game-tying wild pitch, and then this one really got away from Ramos today.
Yeah, you know, and Mickey just said it. He jumped on that first pitch fastball, and I think that was the key to the whole inning, not just the fact that he reached, that the Montero jumped on that pitch. And from that point forward, Ramos he wanted no part of the strike zone. He threw very few strikes throughout the rest of that inning.
Benny's is the official champagne provider of the Chicago Cubs. We're back with you late night, 8:30 for our pregame coverage on Friday from Oakland as the Cubs open up a 3-game set on CSN Plus, and more to come. Blue Cross Blue Shield Cubs postgame live is next. What a thriller. Final score, Cubs 5, Marlins 4.
Wow, 7 of 8 on this homestand. We forgot to bring the giant rubber fist thing out. Sorry about that.
That's all I got for you.
We missed it. All the excitement was in the game. You don't need that kind of celebration afterwards. Unbelievable, this comeback and the homestand.
Well, we got wrapped up in the 8th and 9th inning right there, particularly the 9th inning with the comeback, and A.J. Ramos losing it, and the Cubs continuing to put pressure. That's it. I mean, the one thing that I think I've really learned, you know, we talked about it an awful lot last year, how this team comes back. They never quit. I was just telling you, no matter how this game ends, this team is battling back once again. You start to talk about the process and who they are and what's their identity. It's not about winning and losing. They're far out in front. They're playing great baseball. We love the wins, but it's how they go about their business. They come through. They put together the at-bats. They get the walk-off on the wild pitch. They earned it.
4 in a row and playing good baseball again. Cubs post-game live presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield coming up next.
I joined Binnie's in 1955. A winning team needs experience.
Nah, the Binnie's team needs youth.
Guys, a great team needs both. That's why Binnie's has been #1 in Chicago since 1948.
I should tweet that.
Rookie.
$1 window siding and door installation, 102 Pine Street.
Let's go, guys.
It's Feldco to the rescue with $1 installation on all windows, siding, and doors. Plus no money down and no interest until 2018. It's Feldco's biggest sale of the year.
That's $1.
$1 installation on all windows, siding, and doors.
Hurry, $1 installation ends soon. Call now.
For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866 for Feldco.
Now you have the freedom to save even bigger at the Ford Freedom Sales Event. Just announced, get 0% financing for 72 months on 2016 Explorer or Edge. And get freedom from interest for 6 whole years. Now you have the freedom to choose and the freedom to save with Ford, America's best-selling brand. Now get 0% financing for 72 months on 2016 Explorer or 2016 Edge. Only at the Ford Freedom Sales Event.
T-Mobile covers your business in more places. We doubled our LTE coverage, so you can take your business just about anywhere. Plus, our extended range LTE reaches twice as far, and it's 4 times better in buildings. Get more done in more places. Switch your business to T-Mobile at work today.
Nobody should go to bed hungry.
That's where our friends at Binnie's Beverage Depot are going to bat for the Greater Chicago Food Depository.
Every time the Cubs leadoff man gets a hit, Binnie's donates $100 to help feed hungry families in Chicagoland.
That calls for a toast.
Cubs baseball on CSN Chicago is brought to you in part by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Honda dealers, as reliable as the cars themselves. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. Audi, truth in engineering. Menards, save big money at Menards. And by Toyota, discover more in a Toyota. Visit buyatoyota.com or your local Toyota dealer today. Let's go places. This is Cubs Postgame Live, presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois.
That gets away! Cubs win! They win it! 5-4, the final, and they engineer the sweep. What a comeback!
Fish and chips for dinner, 5-4. Cubs win a comeback win at Wrigley Field as they sweep away the Miami Marlins at the friendly confines. Welcome to Cubs Postgame Live, presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield. Alongside Todd Hollinsworth, I'm Luke Stuckmeyer, and you know there was that concern area for the Cubs. People started panicking a little bit before the All-Star break. Right. They've looked really good since the All-Star break.
Well, they have. In most games, we certainly talk about early offense, great pitching, and kind of setting your bullpen up the way that you want. And what we've seen here of late is the ability to come back. That's that missing ingredient. Joe even referenced it. You got to see it once again today. You get the wild pitch right there. Listen, A.J. Ramos, I mean, that ball is nowhere to be caught. Cubs pick up a win that way. It kind of feels somewhat unfulfilling. We're thinking maybe a walk-off walk or a base hit or whatever happens in that situation. But again, the at-bats that led to that moment, as he was melting down out there and really kind of pitching around contact, the Cubs are putting together quality at-bats, and they fought really hard in that 8th and 9th inning to make this game a comeback victory. So that's where you give credit in this one. Good base running. I think of Matt Caesar tagging and getting himself into scoring position. A lot of things went right for the Cubs, but it's that applied pressure that gets you excited about this group moving forward, because that is, and I do agree with Joe, the comebacks hadn't quite been there nearly as much. The convincing wins have been there all season long, but the comebacks are great ones too, and they certainly excite a clubhouse.
Yeah, this one started really late, 4-1, Cubs trailing in the 8th inning. Looks like this one might slip away, and they just have to settle for 2 out of 3. 8th inning, Fernando Rodney, bow and arrow out, ready to come in. Dexter Fowler
put it away.
Starts things off, gets a single. You think the Cubs have a little something rolling. Then Chris Bryant comes up. Now you definitely have something going. 1st and 3rd, nobody out. Rizzo would walk on a wild pitch, and Fowler would score, so the Cubs get some runs here in the 8th inning. And maybe it wasn't everything back at one time, but at least they started to build towards chipping away at it.
Well, it was a quality at bats right there, and again, that's just it. I mean, to give yourself a chance to win a baseball game, you've got to execute, and that's really what it comes down to. A couple of base hits, you've got to walk, you've got to sacrifice right here by Ben Zobrist. I have to admit, I'd rather see Ben swing the bat right here, but you know what? Gets the job done. Fantastic at bat right there, and set the stage for what you hope is to come.
Well, you wondered if the Zobrist bunt decision, whether it was his or Joe's, would end up deciding this game. You wondered if that might be the play of the game.
It certainly could have been a possibility, but you want to see Benny swing the bat right there in that situation because he has been so hot lately, and you know, you have to consider all things that are going on around you. Not that Contreras hasn't been great in those situations before, but he hasn't seen Fernando Rodney. That's something that I would have considered in my mind in that great changeup that he has, and Contreras got to see it a few times, ultimately strikes out.
So Rodney didn't look thrilled coming off the field. Ninth inning, they bring in their closer, A.J. Ramos, and he's got all kinds of trouble right from the start. Again, the Cubs put the pressure on. It's Montero with the double.
Well, right there, first pitch, fastball. He talked about it in the post-game interview, being able to jump right there and kind of get Ramos off his game. And you see right here, Javi Baez puts together a nice at-bat, gets himself ahead. Even though he's struggling, built an at-bat right there. Got a pitch he could handle up in the zone and drove it to the left side. So now you've got first and third.
And then Caesar comes up, and he watches it. Really patient at the plate, notices the pitcher's wild and feeling the pressure. Now you've really added to it.
Well, and that's exactly it. There's so much hitters. We talk about situational hitting an awful lot, and hitters shouldn't feel the pressure. The pitcher has all the pressure. He has to execute the pitches. You should be in a position of being relaxed and looking to just get your pitch and drive somebody in.
I thought the sun was going to be the factor there. Instead, it's the bobble and the advance by Caesar. Chris Bryant probably was right in thinking that that was definitely a ball. Should have been ball.
Yeah, the only thing I'm mad about Chris Bryant right there is that he wasn't a little angrier himself. I don't think it's in his DNA or his personality. I only got tossed one time in my career. I would have been tossed twice if that was me right there. I would not have been happy with that situation. Bad call.
Zobrist, patient, waited and watched and wanted that pitch to come across, and it didn't. Walks in and ties it up, and then you knew it was getting to him, and the pressure just takes over for Ramos. This one reminded me of a bad Marmol game back in the day. This was Carlos Marmol, well, you know, at his very worst.
What's so interesting is even right there on the Zobrist walk, the 3-0 pitch was a slider from Ramos. I mean, that is absolutely amazing to me. Just the... I mean, you asked me, is he swinging right here? And I looked at you like, no. Absolutely not, he's swinging right here. He can't find the strike zone. He's not throwing strikes. I mean, again, in the strike zone was a little iffy today. If you're watching the game at home, you know what I'm talking about. The low zone was questionable. The high zone was questionable as well the other way. But you weren't quite sure what was going to get called. And ultimately, you know, Ben Zobrist takes a slider on a 3-0 pitch for a strike, which just kind of blew my mind right there. And then obviously you see the wide one right there. That's a classic example, kids at home watching this game, of kind of letting the game get in your head a little bit. Pitching away from contact. You really don't see that very often at the big league level. It just doesn't really work that way. You can't do it. You're not going to survive up here. But to see a closer melt down that way, where you could clearly tell in his body language and how he was finishing his pitches that he really did not. He was either going to make a pitch 2 inches outside or farther. He was not going to get anywhere near the middle of the plate.
All right, here's Joe Madden, brought to you by Xfinity at Wrigley Field.
Before any questions, may I just comment on our fans? A big part of that rally in the end of the game is just our fans, purely. So much energy, long day for us. It was hot out there, sunshine, we got to get on the road. All those different mental factors, our fans picked us up at the end, so I just want to recognize that from the beginning. Awesome. Yeah, there have been 2 wild pitch walk-offs, is that right? Yeah. Well, the other was a tie, right, and then a walk-off. Just the battle. How about the battle? Nobody quits. We talked about that before. Try. I mean, just came up short in the previous inning. Zobrist, I gave him the bunt sign one time, but that was him the rest of the way through. That's just Zoe being a teammate. Gets it down, because I really felt good about Contreras making contact right there. I really did. That didn't happen. But nevertheless, just give Zoe a lot of credit for just being a great teammate. I promise you that's all that was. That's what it was. John Lackey was really good. Take away the home run to Mathis. Bullpen did really well. It was good to see Smitty get in the game. CJ bailed us out pretty nicely right there. And then Grimmer held serve. So that was all good stuff without having to pitch Ronnie Stropey and Chapman today. So that was all around a great day because we won. But give our guys credit and also give the fans credit for being there.
Miguel, I know you've probably been waiting along with the fans for him to come up with that moment just to get things going.
Yeah, he also hit that ball well to center field earlier in the inning. Actually hit the ball well to center field and a ball well to left field. He hit the ball pretty good today overall. He continues to catch a great game, blocked the ball well. He had himself a nice game. The one hit was obvious, but he had some other good at-bats.
You don't see Chris look back at the ump like that too often, or even question a call.
Right.
Obviously, Lackey had some words too.
Yep.
I mean, what happened between the ump and Lackey there?
I think Marty was attempting to tell John his side of the story, but it's really hard to tell John your side of the story during a game. I found that out, and every time I talk to the umpires, I advise them to just, wait for a better moment. That's who John is. He's such a competitor. How about his at-bats? I mean, John came to play today, man. He came to play, 2 doubles, pitched really, really well. So if he, when he thinks he's being slighted a bit on the mound, because he works so hard, that's just who he wears it. He wears it on his sleeve. That's who John is. So there was nothing horribly exchanged. It was just the umpire trying to explain himself, and then John pretty much at that point not wanting to hear it.
When you bring in a guy like Zobrist, then he has in a chat like that. How much does that take the rest of the people there and the whole bat being down, and then still having in his mind that he's going to get a punt down?
Right. Well, the both at bats, that and then finally the walk also. I mean, he was not in a hurry. He's not eager. He's not anxious. That's what we have to be better at in those moments, to not try to do too much, to accept your walk if that's what the guy wants to do, not to get outside of your zone. That's exactly what he did. He stayed in his zone. The bunt, man, I put it on. I'm not going to say what pitch, but I put it on once because I thought we might catch them by surprise. I know Fernando is not, really digging on that, so just that the bunt went to the first base side a little bit. But that was all Zoe. That's all Zoe. And I've been through this before with him in Tampa Bay, and I promise you that's just him being a good teammate right there.
The Cubs' first walk-off win on a wild pitch since 2009, June of 2009. Who was the pitcher that uncorked the wild pitch that gave the Cubs the win? This is a little beer money express here.
I don't know. Who is it?
Kerry Wood of the Indians. Kerry Wood. So
once a Cub, always a Cub,
It's been a long time since the Cubs won on a walk-off wild pitch. Let's check out our Elk Grove pitching recap in this one. And when you go look at it, both pitchers had things going for them early on. And we said before the game, keep the ball down because the wind was blowing so hard and it was so warm and sticky out there.
It was so warm, right. You know what? The Cubs struggled with Tom Kohler today. Give him credit. He was outstanding. He had pitched 2 great performances. John Lackey, I thought, was equally as good other than one pitch in this ballgame. And we did talk about it. One thing that stands out, one little area of concern that John has had this season is right-handed hitters have hit some home runs against him. But all in all, when you see his ball down in the zone and you see the 2-seamer with tilt, you can see how effective he can be, and the ball is going to be on the ground. Factor in the slider, gets great results. I mean, that's it. John was locked in at the plate as well. I thought Joe said it best. He came to compete today. It was great to see. He was a little fired up, and again, made the adjustments to the strike zone. He made some pitches, a couple pitches he should have gotten and didn't get, and then came back and still got those outs anyway. Didn't allow those moments to kind of get him off his game. So I thought it was an outstanding performance today from John. Gave everything he had out there. I thought we saw him really dialed in, other than one pitch to Mathis, the one that just got left out over the plate that he deposited in the left field seats.
Cubs had some reasonable beefs with the home plate umpire tonight, but they fight through it, they fight back, and they come back and win it 5-4 at Wrigley Field. We're going to take our first time out here on Cubs Postgame Live, presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield. We will be right back.
Cubs Postgame Live is presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all.
If you feel like singing a song and you want other people to sing along, just sing what you feel. Don't let anyone say it's wrong. When there's a light, what light? There's a light. What light? There's a light. White light.
This one has amazing gas mileage, but I think this one is more my style. But then again, maybe this one is more my style. What to do, what to do.
Now, you know, at Continental Motors, there's a 3-day exchange policy on all used cars.
Wow, 3 days, really?
Yeah, 124 hours.
No, 3 days is 72 hours.
Well, not if you're using the metric system.
No, still the same.
Maybe if you carry the...
72 hours.
So then 3 days.
Grab your phone and come check out our unbeatable online selection at ContinentalMotors.com.
It's Peyton. It's Peyton on Sunday morning.
You know, with DirecTV NFL Sunday Ticket, you can watch your favorite team no matter where you live, like Broncos or Colts.
Cool.
18, the old number. Ooh, I have got a coupon for that one.
It's Peyton on Sunday morning.
Get NFL Sunday Ticket only on DirecTV and watch live games anywhere.
Some things work better when they're connected, like your HD DVR. Connected to the internet now and catch up on the shows you've missed, even entire seasons all at once. Plus, get instant access to over 10,000 shows and movies on demand. Connecting your HD DVR is easy and it's free. Go to directtv.com/connect to learn how.
My mom was 91 years old when she fell and broke her hip at the nursing home. I called some lawyers and was told that she was too old for a lawsuit. But then I called the nursing home lawyers at Pintus and Mullins.
If someone you love is in a nursing home or hospital and has suffered from bed sores, dehydration, broken bones, or has died from neglect or abuse, call me right now.
Pintus and Mullins got us an insurance settlement for $750,000.
Let me investigate your case. There are no fees unless we get you a settlement.
You're watching Cubs Postgame Live, presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois.
Time for our Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing. Who's hot, who's not? We take a look at who's hot in day games this season. Zach Greinke, a 0.78 ERA in 23 innings pitched when he's out there, and who's not? Luis Perdomo, his ERA 8.05 with 54 hits, 17 walks, and 34.2 innings. I guess he prefers playing in night games. Our UPS store taking care of business player of the game. Well, we had some choices here. We went with Matt Caesar in a great base running play that added to this win.
I'm going to claim this just a little bit. Here's why. He's the game-winning run. He knows that about himself, but this is a great read. We talked base running this week, and certainly some good and a little bit of bad for some of the Cubs base running, but this is a great read. See it right there. Watch the hesitation. Everything is happening in front of him. He can obviously only go as far as the runner in front. You go back to tag, put yourself in position, read the throw. He sees Giancarlo Stanton bobble the ball right there, gets himself into scoring position. That, to me, is what escalated the pressure on the mound. He now sees the winning run in scoring position, gets a little scared of the strike zone, and next thing we know, we've got ourselves a victory.
You know, not just that, too. It's that he's also physically ready to come into the game, but he's mentally ready when he gets on the base paths.
Well, I mean, again, speaking from experience, I did it for 4 years. I mean, that's something that is a challenge. You've got to sit there, and a lot of times you end up watching. It gets hot out there. You're doing your best to stay engaged in the game, and you never know when you're going to pinch hit. So it's constantly staying ready, really, from about the 6th inning on for every little thing that goes on. But having a feel and a flow to the game is so important as well, as you just mentioned right there, Luke. He comes into the ball game, takes the walk, obviously put together a good at-bat, but understands that his base running is what put the Cubs in position to win this one.
He could have just been sitting in the dugout, looking at fans, blowing sunflower seeds, but he kept his mind in the game and was ready to go. All right, time for our Honda winning box score. Check it out. Dexter Fowler, after his big night last night at the top, 1 for 4, and of course, really got things going late in the game for the Cubs. A lot of guys with one hit in the game. Jason Hayward struggling a little bit again. Javier Baez had a rough day, but then when the chips were down, he came through with a big single.
Yeah, had his biggest and best at bat of the day, that last one against Ramos as well. John Lackey, 2 for 2 with 2 doubles. I got into John. I was kind of hoping that would turn into something more than it did. Obviously, he had the 2 doubles. Didn't turn into any runs scored or anything like that. But great swings of the bat right there. Tom Kohler was locked in, making pitches. He thought he had a soft spot there in the 9-hole with John, and he'd just throw him a couple fastballs out over the plate, and John said, not having part of it today. Look at this. Turns on 92. John came into the game today, I think, hitting at 100 or under 100. So kudos, John. Great swing in the bat today. Good stuff.
Well, I think it's Lackey and Lester that have the competition this in-season. Who's going to hit the most home runs in a Cubs uniform between the two of them? He didn't have that kind of power, but he is a good athlete.
Oh, well, John is a great athlete. Well, so John, I mean, they both are. I mean, the question is, can they swing the bat? And that's what's so interesting. And again, you got to practice it and practice it and practice it. And they pitch every 5th day. So I know it's not something that's way high on the radar, but a friendly competition anyway.
Speaking of John Lackey, here he is at Wrigley Field talking to the media.
Huh? Talk about my hitting? Actually, Eric Hinsky helped me out a little bit this week in the cage, try to change a few things, so apparently it worked. I don't know.
John, a couple of times this week, the team, maybe from the outside, seemed out of it in ball games and came back to win. What does it say about this program?
I think we got a good group, man. We got a group that keeps fighting and keeps competing until the last out. It's fun to see. I mean, the other night with all the pitchers getting in the game, that kind of stuff, those kind of crazy games can roll over into some positive energy.
Talk about your competitiveness today and Wrigley Field line drive changed the day for you.
Yeah, it'd been nice to pitch at night today. Yeah, probably didn't get out at night, but that's funny. Mathis is my boy too. Like that was one of those deals. Great swing by him and got out of the yard, but man, for the most part, I felt like I threw the ball pretty well. I was pretty happy with the way I threw it, but good for him. He caught me quite a bit in Anaheim. Yeah, we had him in Napoli, but yeah, it was kind of flip a coin kind of. Yeah, it was kind of a platoon.
With the whole plate ump that was out of the ordinary, was it just usual back and forth?
No, it was nothing. No, he said something to me first. Yeah, I'm not really one to back down if you want to challenge me. It's between me and him.
Surprised he met you at the third baseline and you were just walking off the field?
Yeah, I was minding my own business walking off the field.
John, you said earlier in the year when things were going really well that it was early. Now you guys are into August and playing hot again. I mean, what's fair expectations for you guys right now as far as what you've seen?
Fair expectations? I mean, I think we're trying to win a World Series. I didn't come here for a haircut, you know what I mean? We're trying to get it on. I came here for jewelry.
That's quote of the year from John Lackey.
How good is that right there?
Didn't come for the haircuts.
Hey, man, you
came for some jewelry.
Listen, sometimes your best teammates are the ones that you know where you stand with them. I mean, that's John for you. I mean, he kind of explained really his entire personality right there in that entire press conference. I didn't come here for a haircut. I came here for some jewelry. That's great to hear. I mean, even understanding, listen, we saw what happened between he and the home plate umpire. Everybody wants a little clarification. None of your business. Moving on.
One of the funniest quotes of the year. I never thought it would come from John Lackey. We'll be right back on Cubs Postgame Live, presented by Blue Cross and Blue Shield.
Add beauty to your home with Ronyo tiles from Menards. Norwood tiles look like natural wood but have the durability of porcelain tile. In 2 colors, $1.99 each. 13-inch Rapture porcelain tile has a bold marble look, just $2.57 each. Brighten your home with Patriot lighting. The Helena 4-light chandelier features a black finish with clear crystals, $89.99. The Joel 6-light chandelier in a brushed nickel finish with flat opal glass is $129 during Menards' Red Hot Sale.
Save big money at Menards.
In the beginning, there was the original White Castle chicken ring. And now we're introducing the new pretzel chicken ring. Made with delicious all-white meat, they're crispy, shareable, and extremely dippable. The ring is the thing. In fact, it's everything.
Yeah, it's everything.
Mission accomplished. I ordered ahead. Pick up for Mike. 20 chicken rings for just $4.99. Only at White Castle.
If you have a typical airline credit card, you only earn double miles when you buy stuff from that airline. Wait, is this where you typically shop? You should be getting double miles on every purchase. Switch to the Capital One Venture Card. With Venture, you earn unlimited double miles on every purchase, everywhere, every day. Not just airline purchases. Seriously, double miles. Everywhere. What's in your wallet?
Welcome to Honda.
Thank you.
Head over heels, where should I go? Can't stop myself, out of control. Head over heels, no time to think. Looks like the whole world's out of sync.
So you like it?
I do.
Now is the moment to get the Honda CR-V you love, the best-selling SUV in America, at the Honda Summer Clearance Event, going on now.
Our mountains challenge us, push us back, knock us down, tell us it can't be done. But then, one day you reach the summit, and you realize the harder the climb, the better the reward. Coors Light, whatever your mountain, climb on.
Cubs fans, show your team pride with Cubs checking and an official Cubs Master debit card. Only available at your local Wintrust Community Bank. Go to wintrust.com/Cubs to learn more. Member FDIC.
What you see?
Fair expectations. I mean, I think we're trying to win the World Series. I didn't come here for a haircut, you know what I mean? We're trying to get it on. I came here for jewelry.
Good stuff from John Lackey.
Get any better than that?
That might be one of the best quotes they've had out there since Lou Piniella was wondering why. You want to call me a dragon?
I mean,
you want me to breathe fire?
Right. I mean, it wasn't. There's literally no animation that goes along with it. I didn't come here for a haircut. I came here for jewelry. That's what I'm here for.
Clearly, I didn't come here for a haircut. Let's look back at Todd's keys from the pregame show sponsored by Blue Cross and Blue Shield.
All right.
What were you setting us up for before the game, and how did it turn out?
Well, 2 out of 3, not bad. Early and often, that's the one I misfired on. I certainly was hoping for a little bit more against Tom Kohler. Now, coming into today, he had 2 outstanding performances against the Philadelphia Phillies, which led us to today's moment. I was kind of playing off of what we saw from him last time, and sometimes the trouble he gets himself in early in ball games. Unfortunately, we did not get much going against Mr. Kohler. Outstanding effort by him. Living on the edge, John Lackey. He did, and that was important today. Certainly, we talk about the power in the middle of the Marlins lineup, the ability to get guys on base. They are the leading team in batting average. This team can hit a little bit, and I thought it was important to establish strikes to both sides of the plate, not just show inside, but the ability to go inside and pick up strikes. He did that well today, and we finished strong, man. I was really referencing the homestand and how we played today. I'm not going to call it getaway day. They have the day off tomorrow, and obviously they're going to go to Oakland, but you always want to go in there and finish strong. A few of my managers of the past always talked about this day being a big day because it's an easy giveaway day. You kind of come in, you've taken 2 of 3, you're in a position where you can sit back and say, well, you know what, we've won the series already. No, you want to go out there and win this baseball game, and for 8 innings, I thought the Marlins had it. You know what, the Cubs battled back.
All right, Cubs off tomorrow, then they start a 3-game series in Oakland on Friday. John Lester gets the start in that one against Overton. What do you expect from Lester?
I expect an outstanding performance from John Lester. He knows how it works there, keep the ball down. The ball can fly a little bit there during the day, but they'll be playing at night, so nothing to worry about there. But it feels like a lopsided matchup. The Cubs should go in there and hopefully take at least 2 of 3.
Well, we didn't come here for the haircuts. We came for a 5-4 walk-off Cubs win against the Miami Marlins. Thanks for watching Cubs Postgame Live, presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield. We'll see you next time.
Fair expectations for you guys right now as far as what you've seen?
Fair expectations? I mean, I think we're trying to win the World Series. I didn't come here for a haircut, you know what I mean?